Fadden.
Welcome, everyone. You're listening to Smart Health Talk Radio Show. I'm your host, Elaine McFadden, and you're right here at KCAA, which is not just 1050 AM anymore. We're 102.3 and 106.5 FM as well. So we hope that you're tuning in. And, of course, you can always go to kcaradio.com and watch our Ustream video and watch us right here in the studio. And I'm going to be doing a lot of product review, organic product review specifically. I'd like everyone to be making those, say, an organic Thanksgiving, and you can certainly do that, and you may think that it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, but that's not really true. But one thing you won't get with an organic Thanksgiving is a bunch of pesticides. And I am so excited about our show today because we have Zen Honeycutt. She's going to be calling back in. She's over at Standing Rock, North Dakota, and for those of you that have not heard what's going on up there, we have a huge standoff between all kinds of different Indian tribes, people coming from all over the world to support this effort to stop a pipeline of crude oil, something that you shouldn't even be touching with your bare skin because it's so toxic. That we want to spend billions of dollars on a pipeline for a crude toxic oil that is something that in my mind is obsolete. If we're thinking burning oil, we're thinking putting us over the top as far as the point of no return on climate change. And we need to do a full-on stop with the oil and go green 100% if we want to stop this greenhouse gas climate change effect. We are now at over 400 parts per million. The last time the planet had that much carbon in the air was when dinosaurs roamed the earth. This is not an unusual scenario. Islands are now disappearing because the water is rising. We have incredibly expensive real estate right along our shoreline, and actually it's something like 60% of the people in the world live within 100 miles of a shoreline. So when we start taking away that land, we are going to displace millions and billions of people. And unless you want them coming and invading your backyard, and invading your space and moving over into your town. Maybe you want to grow your town, I don't know. But this is what's going to be happening. We're going to have massive refugees is pretty much what it is.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yay, Zen. Okay, everyone, this is Zen Honeycutt from Moms Across America, and she's calling us live from Standing Rock, North Dakota, where there's a huge standoff there. And I'm just going to hand it over to you, Zen, to go ahead and give us a live report on what's going on over there in North Dakota.
Well, thank you so much for having me on the show, Elaine. You always cover such important topics. I know for a lot of people, a pipeline may not seem related to your health, but it absolutely is. You know, this is just another example of how the corporations are bullying our government to put the profits of the chemical companies in front of the health and well-being of our people. And so we at Moms Across America felt it was very important to be here, to be a part of this movement, to support donation supply. I'm very honored be the sacred ground standing and to be a part. It's really Day and Tuesday an extra.
Yeah, we're getting about every other word, Zen. Is there any way to improve the signal? Probably not, huh? From what I understand, you were saying that you were felt extremely privileged to be there participating in this event, and lost Zen. Okay, everyone, she's up in North Dakota in the middle of nowhere. All right, with people from all over the world. Oh, looks like she's calling back in. So we'll try to get Zen back on the line. But she was telling us how honored that she was to be a part of this effort, and also to be a part of standing on sacred ground, which is part of what the Indians, the American Indians, all these different tribes are trying to protect. Zen.
Hi. Sorry
Hey.
about that.
Okay.
Not sure
Yeah.
if it's bad. I'm here.
I was just trying to reiterate because we were getting like every other word on how how you were trying to tell us how privileged you felt to be a part of this effort and the being on sacred ground, which means so much to these tribes, and this is like just being taken as something that means nothing. So why don't you explain the whole purpose of what's going on at Standing Rock, North Dakota, so everyone can understand why these people are trying to stop the pipeline?
Sure. Well, first of all, there's a pipeline that's going from, this pipeline is supposed to go from North Dakota to Chicago, I believe is the destination, Illinois, and the oil will then be transported to China. So this will not decrease our dependency on foreign oil. And my understanding is the majority of petroleum that goes to China is then made into plastic products, cheap plastic products that they sell right back to us, which have endocrine disruptors, BPAs in them, and are not healthy for us and our babies and our planet. Also, they are the largest producers of glyphosate-based herbicides, and a lot of people don't know that herbicides, pesticides, and fertilizers have petroleum-based chemicals in them. And so they're taking this poison basically from this earth, the 60-million-year-old, what they call death, and transferring it into products which will then poison us. And if the pipeline doesn't break, which everybody pretty much agrees here, it's not a matter of if, but when the pipeline breaks, it will pollute water for 18 million people below this portion of the Missouri River. And the controversial thing about it is that the pipeline was originally planned to go through one area of the Missouri River north of Bismarck in a white neighborhood. And after, much protest, it was moved further south through an area which is a treaty area from 1700s, I believe, that is Sioux Nation territory. Now, it's a treaty area, meaning the government now holds it. It's not the actual reservation. The reservation is slightly south of it. But regardless, it is considered, much of the land is considered sacred burial ground and sacred land to the Sioux people. They're called the Lakota in this area. And they have an agreement, a treaty, not to have their land interfered with, to be able to govern, autonomously. And we are essentially breaking that treaty. Not we. When I say we, I mean the government is essentially breaking that treaty by putting in this pipeline, allowing this pipeline to be built without their permission. So what we're seeing here is a massive uprising of Native Americans, of people from all around the world. There's a Hakka tribe here from New Zealand today. Black Eyed Peas will have a concert on Saturday at the nearby casino, the fundraiser. Rob F. Kennedy was here a few days ago. Shailene Woodley, I had a chance to meet her a few days ago. There's actresses, actors, and all kinds of people from around the world which are coming here because they notice, they realize they're connected with the significance of the government betraying the people and the government allowing the poisoning of our planet. And we can no longer allow this. This must stop. We simply cannot allow the poisoning of our water and our land. So it is really moving, really inspiring to be here because a few days ago I was told there were 8,000 people. Past few days, and
well, and why don't you tell to me, Zen, I heard someone compare like the sacred land that's at Standing Rock with the national cemetery
yes.
that we have in
Yes.
Washington, D.C. We would not put a pipeline through our national cemetery.
Through Arlington Cemetery, yes.
Yes.
There's been reports that 3 years ago that this pipeline company requested to sit down with the Native American tribes, that the Native American tribes did not sit down with them. I don't know whether that is true or not, But I know that if somebody asked me if they could put a pipeline through my family's cemetery, I don't think I would even sit down with them. I don't think that would even be a discussion that would be worth my time. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that the Native Americans here have tried repeatedly to bring this issue to the UN. They have repeatedly denied, access, and the Army Corps of Engineers, who was supposed to give a permit to this company who's putting the pipeline through here, has not granted the permit. So they are building without the proper permit. They are plowing and clearing land without the proper environmental assessment. They never did full environmental and cultural impact assessments before doing this project. They only did very small assessments that were for local areas only, not for the entire project. So there's a lot of things that are being violated here.
That makes me want to explode inside. It's like, how can we allow that to happen? What do we even have environmental protocols for if they're just completely ignored? I just can't even believe that. And it was my understanding, Zen, that they were even using the power, a corporation was using the power of eminent domain to just come and take land. And that, to me, is very scary.
Well, I can't comment on that. I'm not sure about that legality.
Okay, I was wondering if maybe you might have heard that. Yeah, it was my understanding that that a corporation was allowed to, because how else could they just come and take the land unless they were using?
Well, they buy access to it. I do know that they have bought and licensed to certain parts of land. That is, some parts are private land, and they've paid the landowners to be able to build through that area. But they do have to get a permit before they drill under the Missouri River, and to clear up any rumors. The drill casing is not here. The drill is still in the warehouse.
Okay, so would you say that how are they doing as far? Okay, sorry, because I think you're not talking and then it cuts out. I'm sorry, but I'm just wondering, what do you think that there has been? How would you say that the good guys are doing? Are they winning this? Where are they at where do they stand in court on the legal aspect of this as well?
I don't know about the legal aspect. I do know, as far as the spiritual aspect and the movement, that they are growing every day, and the amount of donations here is astonishing. It is a small city here now. It is the 7th largest city in North Dakota. And
really?
Yes.
That's so funny.
And there are camps within camps. There are many camps within camps. There are 8 kitchens that are constantly serving food. There's an art camp. There's an area just for women. There's all kinds of. There's an area for building teepees, for construction projects. The amount of organization here is astonishing. Every morning there's an action meeting, then there's a community meeting, so you can get involved in the direct actions, or you can get involved in supporting the community. You can get all kinds of tactical training. It is truly astonishing, and they're able to put in now technology that is just going to really support the community. We're trying to get ways to avoid stingers. They have planes flying around the camp constantly, although I don't now, but usually there's an airplane flying around constantly, which is intercepting the signal of the cell phones and cutting off our videos and Facebook Live feeds. And this is a fact. It sounds like a conspiracy, but it's not. It's a fact. I would have 50 to 60% battery, and it would all of a sudden tell me 0 battery, and it would shut down. It was happening to everyone around me. So
wow.
Yeah, so they're using very sophisticated, the opposition's using very sophisticated technology, and they're breaking rules, too. They have airplanes flying without any lights on. They are testing things called IRAD, which is a long-distance range acoustic device, LRAD. They tested it. They didn't use it repeatedly, but they were trying to intimidate us. This is a sound weapon, which when it goes off repeatedly, it can make you vomit. It hurts your inner organs and your ears so badly. They're really...
So they're testing it on people, basically.
Yeah, they tested it. And we have legal witnesses now that are around us during the actions witnessing these things. And so that is very comforting. I am sure this will not go without a massive lawsuit, because nearly 200 people were injured. Well, over 200 people were hurt. 167 just with the what they're calling a water cannon, which is debatable. Could be just a fire hose, or there's also a tank with water. I don't know the semantics of the wording of it, but I do know that a water cannon is intended to knock people over. This is not what they were doing. They were drenching us. They were drenching the people on the front lines in sub-zero temperatures so that they would get hypothermia. And the fires that CNN and other media people claim that the water protectors were building were not in outrage. They were not in protest. They were not dangerous. They were very simple campfires or bonfires by the side of the river on cold, frozen dirt, far away from any type of grass, very safe area. And they were built to prevent the young people that were, or I should say young adults, that were protecting the front lines from getting hypothermia. So they weren't making fires in violence. They were making fires in protection of each other. And these policemen at the front lines, the Morton County Police, brought out these giant fire hoses. It took 4 people just at the front to try to put out the fires. And so the young adults made walls with their bodies, with their backs to the hose, with a tarp over them, and stood and protected their fire. And they did this several dozen times, over and over and over again throughout the night, and the policemen were unsuccessful in putting out their fire. This standoff went on Sunday night for 12 hours or more. It was astonishing. People were standing in front of 5-foot barbed wire with militarized police in front of them that were shooting them with water, rubber bullets, mace, and they continued to stand there. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they weren't completely frozen.
That is unbelievable.
Falling down, fainting. I don't know. And not being violent back. None of the police officers were injured.
Well, and that's not what's being reported, Zen, because there was an article on Yahoo that claimed that they were violent and that they started a bridge and a car on fire. No, that's absolutely, totally, completely untrue. What happened was that weeks ago, we believe DAPL workers or the police set fire to what they look like military vehicles. They could be police vehicles, but they look like military vehicles that are facing each other, nose to nose on the road, obviously a barricade blocking the road, and they set them on fire. And then they continue to arrest people saying, you attempted to set a fire, or whatever, setting a fire to these barricades, and they're trying to charge these people with felonies. No one on this side, the Native Americans, has had any plans or any evidence or any intent to set a fire, a barricade. They wanted to go through the barricade. They didn't want a barricade there. They want to go down that road towards the pipeline. So there's no reason for them to create a barricade or set fire to a barricade. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
So what happened was last Sunday night, after 2 weeks or 3 weeks of waiting for the Morton County Police to remove those vehicles, which are barricading a public road and denying access to not only the general public, but to emergency vehicles, ambulances can't come down that road now. And so for 2 or 3 weeks, they waited for the Morton County Police to clear that, and they have not. So finally, a Native American here got a tow truck and was successful in pulling one of the vehicles out of the way. And that is what started the action that night. And then many people came to pray. And it was simply the people that were standing there were praying. And then they started shooting tear gas and rubber bullets. And so more people would come to stand beside them. They were being sprayed with water. More people came soon. In front of me, there were probably at least 700 people. I would imagine that over the course of the evening, there were well over 1,000, if not more, people that came and went, because they would go and get soaking wet and leave. Other people would replace them. Many people just either went home or grabbed a coat along the way. People were bringing up boxes of coats, put another coat on, and went back to the front line. I have to tell you, Lane, I thought it was unstoppable, and I thought I was pretty fearless. But seeing these young people before me just go back time after time again to stand beside their elders. There were elders standing there in big woolen cloaks that were getting sprayed with water, and they continued to chant and pray, soaking wet.
It makes me want to
Saudi
cry.
girl weather.
It makes me want to cry. I really feel this. I mean, the passion that they have for this cause, because I think when we look at the big picture, like you said earlier, this people are coming from all over the world because they see what's happening there could impact them in their country. It could impact any of us when we have this kind of a thing happening. So I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you about the training that they do for people there. Aren't they? It's all nonviolent. It's all in how to respond nonviolently. Isn't that what they are all about?
Yes, it is nonviolent, and they teach people how to be just in prayer. What does that look like? How we take care of each other. Partnering up, all kinds of things. That I obviously for strategic reasons I can't go more into it, but it is all about remaining prayerful, and it's not violent in any way. That is not sanctioned. So. When I did see a few young men getting a little, getting riled up at the action on Sunday night, yelling at the police officers, swearing at them, that was not sanctioned by the elders. That is not what is considered prayerful or what was intended. But when you're a young man standing beside a young woman who gets shot in the head, right, and subsequently loses an eye, you're going to be angry. So there are some young men who are angry, and they said, "Shoot me! Don't shoot her! Shoot me!"
It was reported someone is going to have an arm amputated because of the.
Yes, that is confirmed that she had to have her arm amputated, and another person, a young woman, lost her eye, and many people got shot in the head. It's one thing to shoot rubber bullets at people who are unarmed in the legs to make them fall down, which is what happened. But many people were also shot in the head, and then many people were shot in the head while the police officer was laughing. This has been reported by multiple people that the police officers were laughing. They were considering it like a target play, and it's a very sad day.
Well, when I saw the original video with the oil and gas guys approaching the Native Americans there and told them that they had brought them an offering of bottled water and tobacco, I think it was pretty obvious just what their feelings were about these Native Americans. The lack of respect was obviously there, and from what you're saying, it translates to the police officers as well, which is extremely disturbing and disheartening. But
Yeah.
Zen,
And not all. I want to say not all police officers. Some of the women spoke to them and said, "What if I were your sister? What if I were your mother? You don't have to take this job on. You don't have to come back tomorrow. You don't have to do this job." And some of them look she got through to them. And I'm very proud that there are some people out there that are willing to see the police officers in that way, that they have a choice. They don't have to do this job. This is not what they signed up for when they promised to serve and protect. It was not to shoot unarmed, 20-year-olds with water and rubber bullets that are just trying to keep warm or just trying to water. They weren't smashing buildings. They weren't breaking glass. They weren't throwing chairs. They weren't being violent like that. They were simply standing there in prayer and chanting, "Water is life," Minnie Waconey over and over and over again, and or Native American chants, So
yeah. So how can we be violent against that? So I have to ask you, what was it like meeting Shailene Woodley? What were her feelings that you took away after meeting her on her passionate about this? And she was even arrested for trespassing.
Well, Shailene Woodley is one of the reasons why we teach at the environmental awards. I don't know if I'm saying that's the right award ceremony for environmental causes, and she received an award, and she made a plea to everybody to please go to Standing Rock. And her plea, if you'll see on YouTube, look it up, Shailene Woodley, that was one of the reasons why we came. So when I met her, I was able to acknowledge her and tell her that and tell her that we'd raised, thousands of dollars to be able to donate supplies, and she was very pleased. She was really happy about Moms Across America, and she did say that she's going to be around. She's going to keep at this till it's over, and many celebrities will be supporting as well. Mark Ruffalo's been here several times, and there's been other actresses that I've seen. So it's really excellent. I believe that the celebrities are using their celebrity to raise awareness about
That's
this.
awesome.
And I'm very grateful for them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Well, I really want to thank you, Zen, for everything you've shared with us and giving us this visual in our heads of what it's really like there, because we get so many conflicting reports and they're not always truthful. Now, I just wanted to, in closing, I'd like to ask you, I feel like, you've seen so much, you've been all across the country, you've been around the world. When you look at this pipeline, and everything it represents as far as our future, what are your feelings about the direction that we're going with billions of dollars, being invested in this is our future? What are your feelings about the big picture of all this?
Well, I think that the big picture is that the people around the world, across the nation of America especially, but around the world, really have a choice right now to make. Either we ignore it and allow the corporations to pollute our planet, and we are looking at a crisis, environmental crisis, within the next decade, I would guess. They're saying, but I would say within the next decade. We're already having environmental crises. We're already having extreme weather, and or we have a choice to rise up to stop this and to begin really being that work with the planet, that are in harmony with the planet, that are in harmony with human beings, consuming GMOs and poisons, consuming petroleum-based chemicals, consuming toxins and arsenic, and as you were speaking about earlier, atrazine and chemicals that alter our sex organs and our orientation and our moods, our brains. We have 1 out of 5 people in America that have mental illness. How are you going to make it to the next decade or two with 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 2 people who are mentally incapable?
Yeah, and they're on disability.
Of living to their fullest potential. We won't. We will simply drive ourselves into extinction. It may not have my life concerned about my children's or my grandchildren's lifetime, and the responsibility that we have to hand them a future which is safe and healthy and with the ability to be prosperous, that's our obligation. It's our responsibility. So it's time for people to put down the remote, to stop watching Netflix, and to ask yourself, what can you do? And what you can do right now is to call the president. That's 202-456-11, 202-456-11. You can also call the Army Corps of Engineers. I don't have that number.
The Army Corps of Engineers. I missed the last. I missed the last 4 numbers for the president. Can you say those again, Zen?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now. Give me the last 4 numbers for the president.
So the president is 2-456-1111.
Okay, 202-456-1111.
Yeah, to call the president and tell him to stop the Dakota Access Pipeline. And then look up the number for the Army Corps of Engineers. We've also posted it on our Moms Across America Facebook page several times. And also Divest from the banks who are supporting this pipeline. The Norwegian bank has already pulled out $120 million gone. So we want Chase, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America to pull out of this project. If they do that, it's over. And we are very optimistic that the executives at Chase, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America do not want to support police brutality, but they do not want to support the desecration of ancestral burial grounds. They do not want to support the poisoning of the planet. And it does not look good for them to be a part of this project. So we're asking everybody to go to the bank and say, I'm pulling all my money out. Please give me all my money, and I'm doing this because your bank supports the Dakota Access Pipeline, and I do not. And then find a very suitable credit union near you to put your money in. And we ask you to do that as soon as possible. Definitely by January 1st, but do this as soon as you possibly can. And also we're asking for people to not shop on Black Friday in protest of Standing Rock, and do not buy a bunch of cheap plastic junk that's petroleum-based products. Please, when you do shop, not on Black Friday, but when you do shop, buy local. Support your local mom and pop people, and really be conscious about everything, about your choices. Organic? Are you buying local? Are you supporting versus huge corporations which are controlling our government?
Well, that is really good advice, and I think those are all things that are doable, and I think we can also think of more reasons to pull our money out of those banks besides supporting Standing Rock. I think most of those banks have done other criminals against their very customers over and over again. So I wouldn't have any problem with that. And you're right, there are a lot of great credit unions and smaller banks that are more community banks that you can put your money into. We don't have to put them into those big banks. And I just want to thank you so much, Zen. I want to thank you for, I think about you at night. I'm thinking, God, Zen's over there in North Dakota, freezing cold. So I'm thinking about you.
Thank you very much, but I'm doing okay. We do have an RV, and we are keeping fairly warm. It is cold at night, but we're keeping fairly warm, and there are dome teepees, and we can go into. Many of them have small wood stoves now. If anybody can donate, please go to momsacrossamerica.org to Action and then Protect Our Water. And anything that's donated by the end of our trip or even afterwards, we'll make sure it gets to people that we know here, that we know will use it for good purpose, and it will go directly to them. For instance, the medical school, the elders, the woman that's running a women's meeting, things like that, for winterization so that they can keep warm and survive throughout the winter. If you would like to donate directly to the Oceti Sakowin camp, go to OCE, Oceti, OCETI, Sakowin is S-A, or Sakowin, SAKOWIN, camp.org, and you can see the list of materials they need, and you can donate directly through them to PayPal. That's how they appreciate being donated to. So anything that you donate will absolutely be used to support them through the winter. There's things like they need speakers with microphones, remote portable ones, because when the elders speak, we need to be able to hear them. We need better technology here. They need more wood stoves. They need more, unfortunately, propane is necessary in some of these cases, so they do need some more propane to be able to keep warm. And they need rugs for their teepees. If anybody can anybody from New Zealand can donate a truckload of sheepskin rugs, that would be wonderful, because that's how they used to survive through the winter. With some of these animals did. Sorry, but they did. They had hair and
sheepskin rugs. Okay, we need a truckload of sheepskin rugs, everybody.
Yes, please get them to Standing Rock.
And some technology, and some walkie-talkies, and microphones, and all those kind of.
Yep.
All right.
Please.
Okay, and Moms Across America, the water, it's water project.
Protect our water.
Protect our water. Okay.
Yeah, Action and Protect Our Water.
Okay, momsacrossamerica.org, Action, and then Protect Our Water. Okay, got it.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thanks, Zen, and we'll keep in touch. We'll get an update. All right. Okay, thanks a lot.